Pat, later. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, I'm not sure how we're going to handle the crowds tonight, but we'll make the best of it. Standard rules for Merrimack. We're going to go through the warrant, one article at a time. I will announce the article number and the subject matter and recognize someone for making a motion to that subject matter. We will discuss that after it's been seconded. If you want to make an amendment, I'm going to ask that you put it in writing and give it to me. If we have an amendment, we will vote on that, but we will not be voting on the main articles. If you want to speak, come up to the microphone in the center here. Please socially distance. If you've spoken once and there are other people in line, wait until they've had a chance before you get up a second time. Polite, these are your neighbors. Let's be nice to everybody. This is a sandbox, we know how to play in it. I'm going to ask Cinda if she will introduce her head table here.
Hello, my name is Cinda Gualyumi. I'm school board chair. To your right, I've got Shannon Barnes, vice chair, school board member Jenna Hardy, school board member Lori Rothaus, and school board member Andy Schneider. Up here in the front, we've got Patricia Heinrich. She's the school district clerk. We have our staff attorney, Kathy Peel of Wadley, Starr and Peters. We have Dr. Mark McLaughlin. He is our superintendent. And we have John Fabrizio. He is the assistant superintendent of business. And then, I'm sorry, Matt Chevenel, assistant superintendent of business. And then, and then John Fabrizio, the assistant superintendent of curriculum.
And to their left, we have Chuck Maurer as the chairman of the Budget Committee. And sitting out in front here, we have those members of the Budget Committee that are here this evening. I'm going to proceed with Article number 2, relative to gifts and legacies. Cinda?
And this is Article number 1?
Article number 2.
Or no, okay. Shall the school board be authorized to accept on behalf of the district without further action by the voters gifts, legacies, and devices of personal or real property which may be available to the district during the fiscal year? And I'd like to move Article 2 as written.
Thank you.
Second.
Laurie, second. Thank you.
I second.
Yep. Cindy, you want to speak to this?
This article would allow Merrimack School Board to accept gifts of personal or real property during the year, such as land. The article appears on the ballot every year to allow the school board to accept property on behalf of the district. If the article was not approved, all non-cash donations would have to come before the voters. This does not negate public discussion by the school board. It would still require a vote of the board.
Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, it'll move to the ballot as printed. Article 3, relative to collective bargaining agreement with the support staff.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So Article 3 reads, shall the district approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Merrimack School Board and the Merrimack Educational Support Staff Association, which calls for the following net increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels over the amount paid in the prior fiscal year. Year 2021-2022, the estimated increase would be $253,920. In year 2022-2023, the estimated increase would be $257,813. And in the third year of the agreement would be 2023, 2024. The estimated increase would be $267,499. And further raise and appropriate the sum of $253,920 for the current fiscal year, such sum representing the additional cost attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at the current staffing levels. Majority vote required, recommended by the school board with a vote of 5-0-0, and recommended by the budget committee by a vote of 12-0-0. I move that we present as written.
And Jenna, you have a second? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Shannon?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So the tax impact is an estimate of 7 cents increase per thousand, or a total of $14 on a $200,000 house. Each year of the contract from 2021 to 2024 calls for a 3.25% pay increase. In addition, there will be a 1% decrease in the amount the district will contribute to the employee's health insurance based on the Access Blue New England HMO plan. In 2021-2022, the employee contribution based upon the Access Blue New England HMO plan will increase from 12 to 13%. In 2022 to 2023, it will go from 13 to 14, and in 2023 to 2024, it will go from 14 to 15%. This will provide a savings of approximately $63,000 per year to the district, or $189,000 over the term of the agreement. As you can see, the district is making efforts, as it has in the past, to more appropriately share the rising cost of health insurance with the support staff while trying to keep hourly wages from falling behind other area districts. The support staff is comprised of our custodians, mechanics, paraprofessionals, administrative assistants, kindergarten instructional assistants, library assistants, Title I tutors, and food service personnel. The school board and budget committee both support this article for some of our hardest working and least paid employees, and we hope you will also. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak to this article relative to the collective bargaining agreement? Seeing none, the article will move to the ballot as printed. Article 4, relative to calling a special meeting. Jenna?
Yes. Article 4. Shall the district, if Article 3 is defeated, authorize the school board to call one special meeting at its option to address Article 3 cost items only? Majority vote required. It's recommended by the school board by a vote of 5-0-0. I move Article 4 as written.
Second.
Shannon, thank you. Jenna, you want to speak to it?
Yes, please. This article gives the school board the option of calling one special meeting to discuss cost items only in the negotiated agreement if not passed by the voters. If we do not have this article on the warrant, we would have to petition the Superior Court to get approval for a special meeting. The court only grants such special meetings for emergency purposes.
Anyone in the audience want to speak to this article? Seeing none, it shall move to the ballot as printed. Article 5, relative to a bond issue, a lease. Andy?
Yep. Thank you, Madam Moderator. Article 5, shall the district vote to authorize the school board to enter into a 10-year lease agreement in the amount of $4 million for the purpose of improving classroom ventilation through the purchase and installation of unit ventilators and associate controls for the Merrimack School District, and further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $98,566 for the first year's payment for that purpose. This lease agreement contains an escape clause. Majority vote required. Recommended by the school board 5-0-0. Recommended by the budget committee 12-0-0.
Second.
Thank you, Cinda. Andy, you want to discuss it?
Yeah, I'd like to spend a couple of minutes explaining this to give the voters an idea of why we're undertaking this and what the scope is. This article seeks to provide new unit ventilators and associated controls, components, and accessories to be installed across several school buildings in the Merrimack School District to improve classroom ventilation. This project has been studied by the current and past school boards and the School District Planning and Building Committee. Dating back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s, 14 additions to our schools were built to address our increasing enrollments. At the time, there were no standards for outside makeup air as a part of the overall ventilation system designs for any of the original buildings, nor any of these additions. Recently, an analysis of the air quality within classrooms across the district was undertaken, and there were several areas within these buildings where the air quality improvements were recommended based on measured levels of carbon dioxide. Given the events of the past year, the board and most parents and students have a heightened sense of the importance of air quality within our classrooms, supporting a healthier learning environment for students and staff. Carbon dioxide levels in the classroom have been shown to be directly related to a student's alertness and the ability to concentrate. High levels of carbon dioxide indicate a lack of fresh air intake that negatively affects the health, attendance rate, and learning ability of students. The measured levels of carbon dioxide within the classroom across the district shows a total of 56 classrooms where the CO2 levels are higher than the level recommended by the American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers. This includes 24 classrooms at Merrimack High School, 8 rooms at Reeds Ferry, 9 rooms at Thornton's, 7 rooms at Massacola Elementary, 8 rooms at J. Muse. The only school that does not require ventilation is Merrimack Middle School, which was constructed in 2004. This warrant article covers the cost of all work items required that will introduce fresh air into those identified areas within the buildings, filter that air, and temper it based on the outside temperature during colder winter months. Outgoing maintenance of these systems, due to their simplicity, will require only regular filter changes and minor cleanings during the year. The lifespan of these units can run, with proper care, from 35 to 40 years. This warrant article, if passed, will authorize the district to enter into a lease purchase agreement that will result in all of the focus areas being addressed within the first 2 years of the agreement, and allow the district to pay for the total cost over a 10-year period. The first-year cost, as identified in the warrant article itself, is at a lower level than the remaining 9 years of the lease term. The lease purchase option offers a more cost-effective method of achieving these air quality goals versus other funding options considered, and allows the work to be completed in a timely fashion. After these initial target classroom areas are addressed, an ongoing evaluation of the air quality within the buildings will be undertaken, and any future needs beyond these target areas will be identified at a later time. I'd like to bring up 2 other points regarding this. First, the escape clause referenced in the warrant is a legal reference that is required for any lease option that would be considered by a district. In essence, it enables the district to back out of future years of payment on the lease agreement. However, doing so would require the district to remove all equipment that was installed and therefore return to the lessor, which would certainly not be something we should be considering. The board, item number 2, the board did consider utilization of upcoming CARES Grant Act funds for this purpose. However, the anticipated funding would not have been anywhere near an adequate level to achieve these cross-district goals, and given the time constraints to spend these grant funds observed in previous grant funds, the district would likely have not had adequate time to purchase and install the equipment needed. As such, any CARES funding the district were to receive would be utilized to address other opportunities as outlined by the funding guidelines of the grant.
Is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak regarding this article? Tom? You next.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Tom Koenig, 1 Danforth Road. I'm trying to understand, you had 48 units, is that right?
Pardon me?
There are 48 units, 48, is that the total?
There are 56 classrooms across the district that need to be addressed.
Okay, I missed the number there that you were telling me. So 56, and it's going to cost $4 million for 56 units?
Right, but understand these are permanently installed. It's not like the portable one you might see at CVS that's sitting in the middle. These are permanently installed as part of the ventilation systems in each of the rooms so that they can be addressed over a 40-year period. So they're not a portable unit, they're a permanently installed part of the system.
And the cost of leasing is how much? I mean, as opposed to bonding them and buying them outright, you're leasing them over 10 years, presumably so you can avoid the majority, the 60% majority vote required. This would only require a 50% majority.
We looked at three different options. If you looked at the capital improvement plan, it showed 1/10 of them done every year for a period of 10 years. The analysis of that was over $5 million to do that work. When we looked at bonding versus lease, because there is the 2/3 versus majority rule, the lease cost was actually the least option of all the three by about $60,000. So we felt that we did pick a side effect of needing only majority, but it is actually the cheaper cost over the long term of the lease.
So the lease program has a lower overall interest rate, if you will, because there's
Yes,
obviously a lease
the overall
built in.
cost is lower than any of the other ones, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Before you speak, Andy, I believe you're amending this article as it's printed, so that the wording says $98,566. Is that correct?
Yeah, the version that's in here says 9,000.
The words say 56, the numbers say 66, and I believe you're proposing an amendment to
Yes.
change the words to 66.
Yes, the
And
number that's,
Cindy, you're okay seconding that?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll resecond.
yes. Yeah, the number as written is correct. The verbal part is, it says 56 as opposed to 66. That is correct.
This is a minor correction, but because we're amending it, I'm going to ask those of you with a yellow card in your hand, all those in favor of amending the typo? Thank you. All those opposed? The amendment passes. Thank you. Yes? Nope? Okay. Anybody else wants to speak to this article? Seeing none, it will move to the ballot as amended. Gary, Article number 6, relative to the School District Budget Committee.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Article 6 by petition reads, shall the district pursuant to RSA 32:14, Section 5, rescind the adoption of Article 7 of the 2006 school district warrant that established a school district budget committee. I move the article to the ballot as written.
And do we have a second? Thank you. All right, go ahead and speak to it, Gary.
Sure. The School District Budget Committee was created via Article 7 in the 2006 school district warrant. Before that time, a municipal budget committee existed, which reviewed both town and school budgets. The move to a town charter form of government did away with that municipal budget committee, but Article 7 on the 2006 warrant created a new municipal budget committee for the purposes of reviewing the school district budget only. This 2021 petition article asks whether voters would like to rescind that 2006 article and eliminate the school district budget committee. This exact question was asked of voters of 2012, where the budget committee was narrowly preserved. I served on the school budget committee for one term and was vice chair of that committee for the last year. I understand where the committee operates from and where its authorities are derived. My rationale for wanting to eliminate the committee is to improve efficiency and public access to the budget process. Since 2006, the committee has rarely made changes to the budget, and when they have, the school board has generally ignored their wishes. Some examples included the budget committee added $22,000 in 2010 to help fund a part-time business teacher for the business department. In 2013, the budget committee restored there were 3 roofing projects in the budget that year. The school board chose to cut one of them. The budget committee restored $386,000 to add that back in. Later on, the school board chose not to execute that funding, even though the voters approved it. In 2018, $6,000 was added to send school resource officers to active shooter training. And in 2019, the Budget Committee added $200,000 to raise the Brentwood building. Again, the school board chose not to execute those funds. Even if all these changes by the Budget Committee were enacted by the school board, they are insignificant in the scope of the school district budget. The largest of the examples I listed, the $386,000, is less than 0.5% of today's operating budget. This brings me to my second point. The school board is the body that negotiates staff contracts, and that contains all staff-related expenses and such as salary, benefits, and so on, which make up at least 80% of the district's budget. In the remaining 20% of that budget, there are things that are untouchable by the committee due to legal requirements for things like providing transportation or certain special services, which means the budget committee has very little actual authority over the budget. The budget committee does add 4 to 6 weeks to the budget process and uses quite a bit of time from the school district staff in hearings and subcommittee meetings. And to boot, it doesn't make a measurable difference to the budget. So why should we further impose needless work onto the school staff? I think it better to let the staff use that 4 to 6 weeks to work on better ways to deliver educational services. Because the committee exists, it must, by law, conduct a public hearing on the budget. This ironically makes it the most difficult for voters to actually voice their opinions to the budget, to the body that can actually do something about their concerns. The public hearing should be held by the school board. The town council has shown us that they are able to manage the town budget in a way that is fiscally prudent and still accountable to voters, and there's not a reason to think the school board would not do the same. Lastly, to those that would argue the budget committee is a check on the school board, one that can add or subtract from the budget's bottom line, I would note that any registered Merrimack voter here tonight has that same power and authority. Any voter can make a motion in a school deliberative session to add or subtract from the budget's bottom line before it's printed to the ballot. That power will remain whether we have a committee or not. So for the sake of efficiencies, I ask my fellow voters to support this petition article and disband the wasteful and ineffective committee.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this article? Seeing none, it will move to the, I'm sorry, Chuck, you heading for, I thought you were heading for the next one. I'll get it for you.
Your table is ready, sir.
My name is Chuck Mower. I live at 4 Depot Street. I have served on the Budget Committee for some number of years now. And I have to say that Mr. Krupp would be oh so right if he wasn't oh so wrong. I will give you a robust defense of the School District Budget Committee, not because I am a member, but because I am a citizen and I have witnessed what the School Budget Committee is capable of providing. Not only is it, as everyone says, another set of eyes to make sure that what we are doing in the school district is in fact what the majority of people in the community want. And that has been proven year by year by year by a vote of support for the budgets for the school district. It is in fact the voters that have confirmed the practice of the school district budget committee being a good and wholesome thing. We have 12 people on the committee from all parts of the community. They are citizens, like all the rest of us, wanting to participate in their school district. Perhaps they have children, perhaps they have had children, perhaps they don't have any children. It doesn't really matter. They provide perspective. And they very often raise the innocent questions that many of the experienced and more salty participants don't ask. And there is a wonder in that inquiry. No question is a stupid question, certainly. We have provided for the school district for a number of years We are consistent with state budgetary law. I realize that it's easy to kick around the Budget Committee when you might not necessarily enjoy the amount of money that has to be spent in the name of public education. But the majority of money that the school district approves by the voters every single year under the school district budget committee is by contractual obligation. 97% of the money that we intend to spend in our operating district this evening is by contractual obligation. That leaves 3% that we have as discretionary. That usually winds up in maintenance, supplies, paper clips. I don't want to make any of that sound insignificant, but you have 12 ordinary citizens getting access to their school district. We have liaisons that go to each and every one of the departments in the school district and speaks to the administrators and the principals. We know what the school district needs are. We confirm what the school board says they think are the important issues in the community. We provide an excellent oversight that allows public access to information and public access in the decision-making process. I personally believe that we would be impoverished without it. I stand opposed to eliminating the school district budget committee.
Thank you, Chuck. Anyone else want to speak to this? Now seeing none, the article will move to the ballot as printed. And Chuck, don't sit down. You're up next. Article 7, relative to that operating budget you just spoke so highly of.
It's important that I differentiate the reason that I'm at the podium. I would like to introduce our 2021 Budget Committee for the school district. These are the participants, and I'd like to recognize them. Dan Coakley, Lee French, Jordan Guiliumi, David Ilg, Carol Lang, myself, Chuck Mower, Mackenzie Murphy, Laurie Peters, Gillian Savage, Naomi Schoenfeld, Brian Stisser, Ellen Wilson, and the school board liaisons, Andy Schneider and Jenna Hardy. Shall the district raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amounts set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $81,870,163. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $81,918,937, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the district or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13 X and XVI to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Majority vote required, recommended by the school board, 5-0-0. Recommended by the budget committee, vote 11-0-0. I move Article 7 as read.
Thank you. Second? Thank you, Brian. You have the floor, Chuck.
First, I need to tell you that there is an error on the warrant regarding the budget committee vote on this article. The warrant says the vote was 10-0-0 In fact, the vote was 11-0-0, which is what I said when I read the article just now. Either way, the Budget Committee recommends this article. The only change the school board made to the budget submitted by the administration was to cut $12,300 from the maintenance lines for the Brentwood building. During its budget review, the Budget Committee met with all the district principals and department heads to review their proposed budgets, and the only change the Budget Committee made was to an additional $5,000 from maintenance lines for the Brentwood building. The resulting operating budget proposal is 1.43% more than the current budget. Most of the increase is caused by increases in the benefit lines of the budget. The good news is that the bond for the high school addition will be paid off during the current budget year, which results in a large decrease in the debt service lines of the budget. This is a reasonable and prudent budget, requesting the amount necessary to run our schools next year. The Budget Committee unanimously recommends it, and we hope the community will support it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak to the Budget Committee report on the budget? Seeing none, the article will move to the warrant as read, with that one typo that's been corrected with the committee vote being 11-0-0, not 10-0-0. And that, good folks, is the end of the evening. Motion to adjourn. Thank you, Shannon. Motion to adjourn. Anybody object? Gotcha. We're adjourned. Thank you very much, folks. Stay warm.
I have to wear a mask that breathes better because I sort of run out of air about halfway through.
Merrimack TV is committed to our community. From gavel-to-gavel coverage of town and school board meetings to updates on town services and projects, we aim to keep you connected.
Good morning, I'm Kyle Fox, Public Works Director for the town of Merrimack.
Hi, I'm Diane Trippett. I'm the town clerk tax collector for the town of Merrimack.
I'm Captain Matt Tarleton with the Merrimack, New Hampshire Police Department.
And keep the public informed of every motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
And many moments, so you can be confident that we're here for you. Thanks for watching. Stay connected. Follow Merrimack TV on Facebook.